Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where I interview people in my bed. We talk about sleep, comedy, music, sex, and much more. This is my 28th episode, and I interviewed Natalie Grace Alford, who's an awesome musician and overall amazing person here in Chicago. You can get her EP, Type of Wound. You can find that on Bandcamp, iTunes, and Spotify. She rocks out doing really cool stuff with pedals and loops, and it's amazing. You can catch her every Thursday night at Cupcake Cabaret at 7 p.m. at Gallery Cabaret in Chicago. She's rocking the keys on that. You can also follow her on Twitter at Natalie GA Band and on Insta, NGAlford28. You can also catch me this Saturday at 7 p.m. at the Bookseller with the Kates. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. You can go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week I'd like to recommend Norm Macdonald, based on a true story. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. If you like this podcast, please subscribe on iTunes and rate and review. We're also now on iHeartRadio. You can also go to sleepingwithsarah.com for more information, and please follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Without further ado, here's my interview with Natalie Grace Alford in my bed. Let's get started with the show.
Sleeping with Sarah.
Hi, welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, and this is my guest, Natalie Grace Alford.
Hello.
She is a musician in Chicago, and she's been a big supporter of the Chicago comedy scene by doing a lot of music at comedy shows as well.
That's because I at least get $20.
Yeah.
More than you would get with a music show sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Well, I mean, depending on the one. I mean, if you're doing a big one, that might be, 100 people. But then if it's one of those weird ones, it might be a sound show. You got 4 people.
Oh, wow. See, I guess I always assume, like, musicians get paid better than comedians.
It's just dependent. It's always dependent. And, I mean, when, like, if you're for an opening act, you get a guarantee. Because now I'm finally at that point in my life where I get a guarantee.
They guarantee a certain amount of money. I like that.
Yes, we're moving up. But, like, before it's just like, oh, we don't know, and we have 5 touring bands that are gonna come, but they'll do promotion. It's like, this show's
people that are only in town for a few hours before the show. Yeah, no problem.
I'm sure they're gonna get 50 people. I'm sure that's gonna work great. And you're not gonna meet a bunch of, like, fucking, I don't know. But, yeah, no, unless you get a guarantee, there's no guarantees. So...
Interesting.
Yeah.
How'd you sleep last night?
I slept good, but I woke up so tired because I've been, Were those steps? What are they doing?
There are people upstairs.
They're throwing baby elephants up there?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
Or they're practicing their Irish dance.
Yeah.
I don't know. But no. But I slept pretty good. How'd you sleep last night?
I slept good. I have been running all day and all that, so... I definitely, went to bed a little earlier than usual. I went to bed, midnight and, slept.
Oh, midnight. Damn.
It's early. It feels early for me for comedian.
It's so not. People say that to me, and I'm like...
Well, usually I'm out doing mics and other things and shows, and so I went to a show last night, and I worked with my writing partner for a bit, and then I was just so tired because I had worked all day, and then I postered for my show, and then... I went to the other show and then so then I was just exhausted. So I passed out, went to sleep. And then I woke up. I probably got 10 hours of sleep.
That's nice. That's nice.
Well, for me, it doesn't matter. I can sleep for, 8 hours. I can sleep for 15 hours. I still wake up tired, so.
Well, yeah, because you have narcolepsy.
Yeah.
That thing?
Yeah.
I'm glad I pronounced it right.
Yeah.
Because what's the... I almost said necrolepsy.
Oh, necrophilia?
No.
I used to have a joke about necrophilia. I used to have a joke when I was like, oh, I've got narcolepsy. No, it's not to be confused with necrophilia.
You could be a narcoleptic necrophile.
Oh.
The narcoleptic necrophile is easily caught because she falls asleep on top of the corpses.
And a nymphomaniac on top of that.
And a nymphomaniac. Oh, God. Oh, but did you, have you ever heard of sidetracked. Have you ever heard of that necrophile woman murderer?
No.
It's like, have you ever seen Deadly Women?
No.
Okay, watch Deadly Women.
Sounds like you're into it.
I'm so into it. I'm so into like watching. Basically, it's like murder porn before bed. And I'm lying down.
Does that not scare you? Wait.
No, it's amazing because you realize, one, wow, I'm not doing so bad in my life. I am not a necrophiliac who murders my entire family and is sexually aroused by it every time she murders them for the insurance money. But she was from Evanston. Like, she did this around the turn of the century. Yeah.
Oh, so it was around like
1900s. Yeah.
Okay.
And even more weird, she volunteered at the morgue.
Wait, so I just think that if you volunteer at a morgue, that should be like a red flag right there. Hey, like, I'm sorry. Hey, I want to hang out with dead people, or somebody's volunteering at a funeral home, or something like that. Someone who wants to work with dead bodies. Yeah. There's something there. Like,
unless it's like a family business, because usually that stuff is like passed down, you know?
Because they can't get anyone else to work there.
Because they can't.
So they make you with your family.
Exactly. But no, here's like the weird thing about her. This is even more screwed up part. Like, because one, she was the only woman like to be at that like morgue, and then she also promised the guy, oh, don't worry, I'll give you business. And she murdered like 9 of her family members, and that's how like she brought business in. So she made money from their insurance policies. God. And she made money because she invested in the business.
This is crazy. What was her name?
Oh, I forgot her name. But you can look it up on Dudley.
That is scary.
Exactly. And she's from Evanston.
This is the kind of thing you watch before you go to bed.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I like horror films too.
Yeah.
So
I like suspense films. I'm not big on blood. Like if I see blood in real life, there's a chance I can like faint, you know? Like,
oh, that's one of them?
Yeah, like you know,
like
no, that's not a narcolepsy thing. That's not a narcolepsy thing.
Oh, it's just like
normal. Like, I don't like blood. Like if I see like a lot of blood in real life.
I get you.
So for horror things, like it's I like more suspenseful.
The thriller
versus, hey, we're just gonna put as much blood as possible.
Yeah.
And I can handle a little bit. Like I watch Game of Thrones. That's got a lot of blood, but the story is so compelling that I have to.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But so you like horror movies?
Yeah, I like horror movies. I actually just talked about Kristen Ryan on her Bloody Mary podcast.
Oh yeah.
We talked about horror like that. But it's we did Teeth. The vagina dentata one.
I have not seen that one. I don't think I could like. I'm not sure if I'd like that one.
Check it out. I mean, check it out. But if you don't like, but it has really cool physical effects. Okay. And what you would call it, but I don't want to give spoilers on that shit.
Yeah,
no spoilers. Because I was almost gonna talk about Game of Thrones, but I'm like, I can't do that.
Oh yeah, let's not.
Don't you hate having to keep all that in?
Yeah. You know what?
It's hard, and like I wonder how hard it is for the book people.
Oh well, the book is
well, now they're doing like a divergent thing
because he hasn't finished. They're ahead of the books, so
I know.
I didn't really get into Game of Thrones until season 5. I like binge watched one like a year and a half ago. I binge watched all the seasons, and then I watched season 5 and season 6 was the season 1. Mm-hmm. So I watched those live, and I was like, I hate having to wait a whole week.
I hated it. Yeah, no, I did that with season 1 and partway to 2. My sister and my brother-in-law got me into it, and they had read the books, so it was like they were showing me, so that like awful feeling, and it was like, and luckily for season 4 I didn't have a TV. So I was able to binge watch season 4, which I was very happy about, or the way it turned out.
That's good.
Yeah.
So do you, you said that we were talking about sleep in bed. Do you have any weird sleep stuff that you do, or?
I have to take Seroquel every night.
What's that?
It's an antipsychotic. I'm bipolar. Okay. And some of the times you're like manic. So you sometimes you'll stay up all the time.
So, like, how long have you stayed up before? Like, what's the longest?
It's dependent. Sometimes it's just like, 36 hours.
Whoa, you just say that so casually, like 36 hours.
I mean, it's dependent. Like, it's dependent on the thing. Sometimes it'll be just you get 4 hours of sleep, like, a period at a time. But
And
it's also,
actually, that's totally fine, by the way. I don't know if you know this, but that's like it's totally fine to split up your sleep like that as long as they're like hour and a half. Because like your sleep cycle is like an hour and a half, like 90 minutes. So that's where you go through a full cycle of REM and everything. So you can actually split up your sleep and it's completely fine.
Yeah, but the problem was that while you were sleeping, you had really big, vivid nightmares that kept on making you pop up. Like, that's like the weird thing. But
then, you have bad nightmares too.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was part of it too, but now I'm medicated. And, I take that, because it's also an antipsychotic, so it keeps me from having the weird hallucinations. That's interesting. I have interesting weird stuff, because actually...
Would you only hallucinate in your sleep, or...?
No, in real life too.
Wow.
When I'm not on medication.
So I hallucinate when I first go to sleep, or when I first wake up, and when I'm really tired.
Oh, and you have that, repeat one. I used to have repeat ones, like when you're still in the dream and like you're...
Well, not just that, like I will wake up.
Wake up in the dream.
Yeah, no, not just that. I'll wake up and then I'll know I'm in my room, but then I'll see something that's not really there. Or like I'll be sleeping on the couch and think my roommate came home when they didn't, and then they come home 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
And like stuff like that. So I'll hallucinate like little things, but as I start to wake up more, I will get out of the hallucination. But when I get really tired, though, sometimes I'll hallucinate, or sometimes I'll be walking down the city street, like a street, and I'll see the like lights kind of dance, and I'm like, oh, I'm really tired. I need to go to bed.
One of the reasons why it's a little bit dangerous with when you're in mania, because I've also had a 3-day spree.
You know, if you're up for 72 hours straight, you're considered legally insane, right?
Yeah, so on top of it, it's not helpful when you're bipolar, crazy 21-year-old who I, like, decided to go off of my medication one time.
When I was 21?
No, when I was, like, 23. 21, I had another one, but
this is a better story. This is a better story. All right.
So I got diagnosed with bipolar, and I made up stupid excuses, because sometimes you make up stupid excuses. I was like, nah, it stops my creativity, and I can't write songs. Like, I was such an idiot.
I think we're all idiots when we're younger.
I think we're all idiots, but sometimes a lot, like, it's part of it too. Sometimes when you're diagnosed with something, and you kind of want to reject it because you have the thing of like, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
I'm unique. And so I went off this medication. And then I got asked the next day at one point. I'd been like partying, and then I only had like slept an hour, but then stayed awake and was shooting rats at my friend's apartment day one. Because they had bad rats. They
like shooting them with guns?
An air gun. And watching True Blood and drinking Baileys. I'm not even kidding.
Oh,
so that was day one. So then I meet up with my friend Will, like, next day at, like, a party. It's, like, 6 p.m. And then he's like, hey, do you want to go to Austin? Just throw me some gas money. And I was like, why the fuck not? So I quit my job. It was a horrible job. It was actually a horrible job.
But still, the fact that you would quit your job so suddenly like that.
Yeah, and, shot rats with air guns the night before and stayed at the place that a bunch of rats were, like okay, so... then I remember, like, going out and preparing to go, and then I think, like, on the way, I was still awake, but I was, like, starting to, like, see really weird things on the road, because, at the highway...
Were you driving?
I wasn't driving,
Thank God. Yeah.
I kind of made that... Well, I was providing, all the spliffs, too, so I think they kind of understood, like, let's not let that happen.
Yeah.
So, we get there, I didn't sleep until we got to, like, the, apartment we were staying at.
Oh, wow.
So, I had a good time in Austin, though.
Yeah, I hear Austin's pretty awesome, but that's... So,
I know.
So, how did you... I guess my thing is about trying to understand the mania. Mania is when you're, like, really... Hyper. So there's, like... basically, there's just ups and downs, right?
Yeah, but sometimes you can be manic and upset, or you could be manic and happy, or you could be manic and determined. It's kind of a weird thing to pinpoint.
You can be manic and determined, too? So you can be like, hey, I gotta finish this thing, and you, like,
exactly.
write, like,
and you'll
10
stay
songs
awake.
in a weekend.
Yeah, one of the things I love to do, because I play with loop pedals.
Yeah, and by the way, she's fucking awesome. She just did my show on Tuesday, and we had like, it's all her. She just loops, you loop your voiceover at least, like, 10 times or something.
Well, I loop my voice and I loop keyboards and, sometimes it get, I like, Animal Collective and Tune Yards, love Tune Yards, and, it's Imogen Heap too, like, being able to, like, make songs on stage, you always have a way of, making it creative, and maybe you can make it sound exactly the same, but maybe you can make it sound like each show is like really fun. And yeah, I am really good. Well, part of that reason, one, I was training music all my life, and one of the things is that you really learn is practice. You have to practice. If you don't practice, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, for me, I sometimes when I've been in bands and
and they're just lazy. They don't want to practice.
And they don't want to practice, and it's like rehearsal isn't fucking practice time, it's rehearsal. Like, there's a difference. And that's for me. And part of the reason I like being solo is I don't have to rely on other people who haven't practiced.
So, like, that's kind of similar to me. So, I grew up doing theater, and so we learned rehearsal was very important. It's very rigid. In college, I studied theater, and, like, there were some classes I had where if you miss more than 2 classes, you fail, Yeah. So, it's, like, stuff like this. So, we took it really seriously. So, then, and I also was, like, in improv and sketch and stuff, and I got frustrated, like, because we would only meet, like, once every 2 weeks, or we do whatever, and we wouldn't get anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, well, I want to do something of my own, so that's why I like stand-up, because I don't have to depend on other people.
Yeah, I kind of love the shit that comedians give to improv troops. There are good improv troops.
There are, there are some I really like, and I started improv.
I have taken... Yeah, I was a musical theater major, so in the summer, yes, for a year, and then I was a straight music major because, but no, when you, but also like growing up, I was, my mom, like every summer, she was very like, you have to take something during the summer, which was good sometimes,
so
but not for my one acting class at the Piven Center.
I know Piven, yeah. I'm familiar with that.
Well, we did an improv thing, but it was like, I don't know. It was just so hippie, trippy, dippy. Like, I remember the space thing, and I was just kind of touching things. I had no idea what the fuck to do.
You just don't look like you knew what you were doing.
I was just, and then at one point the teacher came by and was like, Natalie, you need to really feel the space. So I just went and hugged a chair, and then she said, kid. I was like, fuck this shit. I don't know if I can do an act. I mean, I acted in, like, but I just, like...
Well, that you had to act like you knew what you were doing in the class, so that's an...
And I literally was joking. I kind of was joking in my head when I did that, but I kind of, like, hugged it like Janet Jackson, though. Like, that whole...
Yeah.
From behind. But, what was I saying? No, but, like, sometimes you have to rely on other people. So, yeah, that's why I like... the style that I do, but also sometimes it's just nice because then I know exactly what sound I want. I've written the song. I know what I want it to sound like.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so you don't have to worry about someone kind of fucking up a part.
Well, and like I said, I've tried to do bands before, and if I wanted to do, because if things are good and I could do a fun side thing where I like jam with other people or like a band that's like good with that. I've had other musicians where we go to open mics and it works great. We're in sync. But they, like, one of my friends they can do that with, he is, working pretty much, like, 5 nights out of the week. He plays a lot of jazz clubs. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you don't, have time with that. So then there are other people who, and I'm not trying to diss people, mm-hmm. but it's like...
There are other people that aren't to that place yet.
Yeah, and also, like, I'm not, like, dissing, but it's like, I've been, I was in, like, a children's choir, too, so it's, like, and I want more of, like, a, sometimes, like, classical or, like, quick, classical thing, and sometimes that is, like, hard, and, a rock sound, like, I was in a band one time, and I was trying to incorporate, and I was like, this sounds like No Doubt, like, this doesn't sound like me, so, yeah. What made you want to be a stand-up comedian?
Me? I don't know. I've always liked comedy, and I did improv and sketch for a long time, and I had the similar frustrations with being in a band, right, and being in an improv group, And one time I was like, I kept getting these runs. We'd have like 8-week run at MCL, 8-week run at Downey Skybox, and then we'd kind of fall apart and stop rehearsing, and then the group would be done. And I was like frustrated because I want to perform more, and I actually, the way I used to do it, and I'm starting to do this again, to get performance every week, and I didn't think about it until later, but I used to go to live and karaoke every week because I miss being on stage. So I was addicted to it. So the times I wasn't in an improv show or a sketch show, I would go every week to live and karaoke and sing live and karaoke, and it didn't dawn on me till I started stand-up that I was like, oh, that's what I was doing. I just missed being on stage, And so then I started doing stand-up, and I realized, wow, I can do this every night if I want, if I'm really inspired, I want to write stuff. And then from there, it's been giving me the confidence to do these other projects, like running my own show and writing a pilot, like doing other things like that. So it's like for me, it's that kind of stuff. But I always knew I'd perform, like since I was 5, I've been performing. But and you probably started music when you were young too, right?
Oh, yeah, what do you call it? My mom was, like, a dance teacher, so and I'm not good at dance, but I liked being on stage. And then, I think they got that I could sing around when I was, like, 9. They knew I had, like, a good voice, but they didn't know that, like, I really liked singing until I was Susie Snowflake when I was 9 years old.
Oh, Susie, what is that?
Susie Snowflake, it was just this Christmas play thing, but, like, my...
Was that, like, the Charlie Brown Christmas play?
No, it wasn't Charlie Brown. It was just one of those, weird elementary school plays that, like, they get all the kids to do. And I was Susie Snowflake. And, it was, like, when they realized I actually, like, could belt or like kid belt, but I could belt, and actually like the teacher was like, oh my god, this is great. So my mom was a drug rehabilitation counselor, and there was somebody in the rehab who was like, oh, if your daughter can really sing, I'm from like Northfield or Wilmette or whatever the fuck, and there's this professional children's choir, Uvalde Children's Choir, you should see if your daughter wants to audition. So I got the audition, and I got in.
Oh, wow.
And it was weird. And my grandmother, my lovely grandmother, she drove me an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back twice a week.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. That's pretty dedicated.
Yeah, but, like, it was a pretty, like, professional.
Was it hard to get into?
Yeah, I actually didn't realize it was hard to get into because, I didn't realize, like, one of the things that I got to do is I got to perform at the Nutcracker, the Joffrey Ballet one.
Wait, we were the. Are you serious?
It was the coolest thing.
You got to perform at how old were you?
I was 11. I was 11 at the time.
That's so cool.
I know, and it was so weird being backstage and, like, you're going past and you see all the costumes. Like, I remember, like, walking past and seeing the princess, the white princess, I forgot what her character is, but yeah, then they were getting ready to do, like, the big, like, pas de deux.
Yeah.
Oh god, I loved her costume, by the way. But it was amazing to get to sit in the pit up front, up row for, like, this production. You can see and hear, like, the ballet shoes. You can see some of the fake snow coming from like, it's so, like, that was one of the coolest things. We got to tour London and Paris.
Wait, you got to tour London and Paris as 11?
Yeah.
That's
well, no, I was 12. That was 12 at that point.
Oh my god, so big.
I was in this choir. Yeah, I was in this choir for like, I was 11 to 14.
That sounds amazing. That's an amazing experience.
Yeah. It was a lot of work, and a lot of the kids were not cool. There were a couple cool ones who were also weird, but mostly, like, literally this happened, like, the first day, because this is Wilmette, and Des Plaines is not, like, very, like, bougie in the Chicago suburb scene, okay? Because you have to understand Chicago suburb dynamics. Wilmette, Winnetka, especially Kenilworth, and, like, North Shore, very rich. And Des Plaines that, like, so these kids came up, and they're like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, Des Plaines. And then they were like, oh. And then they walked away.
Are you kidding?
I'm not even kidding.
What?
That was, like, my first day.
That's so crazy.
I know. It's the whole me. You know? Like, there are kids who, like, actually do care about where you're from, or, like, you know, like, that Taylor Swift thing of, like, she went to a school where it mattered what type of handbag you had at school.
Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't fuck with that shit.
I couldn't either. It's like, I don't care. Though they did care about the Skechers. There was that whole, like, Skechers versus Adidas thing.
Wait. What?
At least in I remember in junior high when the Adidas were coming back, and if you wore the knockoff Skechers, it was like, faker.
Gotcha.
Faker.
Skechers is still a brand, though. It doesn't make sense.
Adidas is too. I don't know.
Yeah. But that's
so it was a good experience, but it was also weird, but also I wouldn't have learned the shit that I learned with music, like sight reading and just harmonies and...
But where did you learn piano? Did you learn that younger? Or?
No, actually older. I was 14. Cause my mom tried to sign me up for lessons when I was 8, but the woman was really scary and like she made me cry. And, yeah, so she
was she just a mean teacher? Was she like,
just kind of mean?
Slap your finger?
No, it wasn't slap the finger, but she was just really like, dude, you're teaching an 8-year-old. Like, come on, like. But also, yeah, I think she made me cry because I hadn't practiced that much, which is like, wow, an 8-year-old doesn't.
Oh my god, 8-year-old, yeah.
Shocker among shockers. and then we went longer, and my sister was like the next lesson, but we went so long, like she insisted, and she was like, I hope that you're happy at the fact that because of you, your sister's lesson is shortened, and that's because of you, like, you know.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah. So I didn't take it, but then once I started, I think around like 13 and 14, I got really into the Beatles, and I really wanted to write songs, and I kept on listening to the radio, trying to play my favorite songs, so I was getting kind of like a basic on it, but I knew I was like, I need to take piano lessons, and I'm probably going to have to take like remedial, and luckily, my old junior high teacher, Mrs. Wright, she had retired, but she was still doing piano lessons, so when I was like about 14, I started going to piano lessons.
Like every week,
Yeah, every week, and I played Choo Choo, It's a Freight Train. I got a star. And Mrs. Wright it was funny, because she knew I was 14 and 15, but she was doing it as like a jibe at me. Of, like,
you get a golden star for the day.
She did it on the book, and she's like, I know, but you deserve it. And it was, we had a chuckle at that, but she was really cool because, you know, it's harder to get into something later because I know that there's things I'm never gonna master a piano even to this day. I've worked my ass off, but like that starting back into something that you don't know, it's really hard, especially if you're older.
Yeah, well, and almost anything. Like, I hear it's really hard to learn a new language after the age of 14 if you start. Mm-hmm. And so for me, like, I wish I had... So I really wish I had learned piano when I was a kid because my mom put me in violin lessons when I was 5. Because that's a thing, I think.
I don't know why
I don't know why that's a thing. Yeah, because I got frustrated.
Like, play the violin for me when I am old.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. On my deathbed, that's what I want you to play.
We know the most beautiful sounds can come out of the violin when it's in a young child's hands.
It's not gonna think you're scratching down like a.
It's not like it sounds like you're beating a cat to death. No. Have you ever seen that Eddie Izzard routine?
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Routine. He talks about the school band, but he's like, when it's like, play the violin, child, play, and you can play beautiful music, and the kid's like, well, all right, but you're not gonna like it. I'm gonna make a lot of bad noises. It's like, yeah. And I don't understand that, like, giving your child a violin or a tuba, what the fuck? It's just like, you're just calling them fat. You're just... I don't know what else to say.
You're saying tuba's kind of a fat-shaming instrument.
You have to have the upper body strength. Like, that's the thing. It's where, like, you have to have the body strength in order to do it. Sometimes a lot of tall people and just more bulky people, like, that's picking up the tuba.
Yeah.
I can't really, but maybe, there's young petite tuba.
Well, I mean, like I said, I played violin, but then I was so small for my age, and even the kid violin was small for me.
Oh, it didn't.
So I would get frustrated.
Were you preemie?
No, I think I was actually like the day after, I think. So my mom, she waited till her due date, and then she took like castor oil, because apparently if you drink castor oil, it helps with labor. So on the due date, she drank castor oil, and then she had me at like 4 a.m. the next day. She took it at noon, right? And so then she went into labor. She did the same thing with my brother, and he was born at 3:56 a.m. So like almost exact timing.
Damn.
Like we were almost born like the same. It's something along those lines. Like,
but you're just a tiny baby. And
I was very small for my age. So to give you an example, when I was 10, I played a 5-year-old in a play.
Oh.
Like I was very small for my age, and I got frustrated with the violin. My favorite part of violin, and I never told anybody this, was when we played piano to learn the notes. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had taken piano growing up, and I didn't. And I know basic stuff on it, and I have like a ukulele. And I'm even mad at myself because I dated a fucking musician for 5 years, and
you're not gonna learn anything from a musician.
At least you get that.
I'm just saying.
I was like, I had a free guitar instructor, and he.
Yeah, but no, I never come home and I'm like, oh baby, you want to go over some music theory checks? Gotta get that 1 to that 4 to that 5. Here's the guitar wheel. No, it doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, no, but part of the reason, like, I was, like, I was very determined to play the piano. I knew it was going to be struggle, but once I got past that, I was like, okay, I'm going to keep this up because I wanted to write songs. I did it for that. And luckily, I had this big Beatles book. My mom saved my uncle who died when I was, like, 3 or 4, and he had a whole Beatles book and tagged his favorite songs, so I would play the tapes and then like remember my lessons, and I would play along with the Beatles songs.
Oh, great.
Yeah. But it wasn't, then my piano teacher moved when I was like 16.
Oh, no.
So I was like, fuck, I'm on my own after 2 years, and I'm really picky about teachers. Because I tried to have another piano teacher, and then they were flaky as fuck, and just, I don't know, like, just very passive.
They didn't care.
Not even like they didn't care. I think it's just the personality. It was just the personality. And he was really nice. Like, it was like my high school's piano teacher.
Gotcha.
And I would go at the period. And it wasn't anything against him. But sometimes, like, the thing about, like, a teacher, it really is like, if a music teacher is like a sensei. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah?
You have to have your right sensei, and somebody that knows how far to push you, how far to not push you, how to convey their message, how to be able to implement some critical thought, not only for the student, but then to get a level of respect. To understand this is this is something that you do need to keep. Technique, fucking shoulder plays. I didn't know any of this shit, okay? Oh. So, because singing, I had that too. I had the training of, because professional children, when I say professional children's choir, it was strict. It was fucking strict. On time, 30 minutes before. 5-minute break, 3.5 minutes is better, and then get back to do notes in your music.
Wow.
To be prepared for the rehearsal.
So that teaches you to be professional, though.
Exactly. Call up, do everything perfect. They would, and that's the sign of people actually giving a shit. And there are a lot of high school choirs, if they do competitions and stuff, they do that shit too.
My high school choir did that too. They did a lot of competition stuff.
Yeah, so it's it's all that crap. But for piano, I just kept on doing it, but when I went to Carthage College, they had a thing, so I was a vocal music major, I was musical theater, but you got any free lesson you wanted. That's the deal.
That's amazing.
But for the lessons, they said that you needed to have 7 years of lessons for piano. Just, and I only had 2.
Oh.
I had 2.
Yeah.
So I was either taking a crappy keyboard class where you put those stupid ass headphones on and you're learning 1, 3, 5, or shit like that, when Mrs. Wright, she was nice and she left me a whole packet of things to practice on my own, and I was practicing, and not big stuff, but, you know, I worked on my little hided thing that she gave me. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lie. I'm just lying.
Yeah.
So I lied,
and
then I came, to my piano teacher. His name was Dmitry Shapovalov, and he's amazing.
I love that you remember all your teachers' first and last names. And
You gotta remember them because they'll make you remember. But no, I met this guy, and I didn't know like necessarily his credentials. That he was like a graduate student in Cornell. That his family escaped the USSR. His father was like a nuclear physicist who was working on shit, and he wanted to get the fuck out because like of how scary like the arms race was, and that his family was starting to get threatened and shit. And so like coming to this country, and he's like a genius. He speaks 3 languages, like all this stuff. He actually taught me feminist musicology later on too.
Wow.
But I didn't know that he was real smart, and I just told him, look, I have only taken 2 years of lessons. Okay, I know a couple Beatles songs, but I've been trying to practice, and I told him like, I will take this seriously. I will be one of your best students. I will practice all the time. It's not going to be great, but I will practice all the time. And then he was just like, okay. And he said, okay. And he didn't hear me play, from then on, and it was like that. And he held that stand, like, I would say, like, he was, like, one of those teachers, like I said, that held me to a musical standard. And I loved it. Like, when I really think about all the teachers that, like, I just loved getting pushed. I loved, you know, when I studied abroad, I had a vocal teacher, Nan Christie, 5-foot Scottish lady, who just, like...
You were in Scotland?
No, I was in London. I went to the University of London. I studied classical voice there.
I studied abroad in Oxford.
Oh, I did too.
I did BADA. I did British American Drama Academy. And
I forgot what we did. Carthage did this other thing where we did a study abroad thing too, and then we went to Oriel. Yeah, they had this other thing, but then you had a couple tutors from Oxford, and then you had a tutorial but then you had the other 2 regular classes because they weren't just...
We stayed in Oxford, and it was a big theater thing. It was called British American Drama Academy. But we stayed... So we stayed in Oxford, and all the teachers came and, like, did, like, super... Like, we'd spend 8 hours a day doing, like, movement and classical, like, Shakespeare stuff, and then contemporary, and then, like, clowning. And that's actually... That is where I started doing comedy stuff because I didn't think I could be. I didn't think I could be funny. I was always in serious plays. I didn't think I could be funny until I did that study abroad and I did the clowning class. And because of Mick Barnfather, he's a great clowning physical comedy teacher in London. He taught me, and that's where I really was like, oh yeah, I can be funny.
That's awesome.
And that's where that started. I didn't think I could be funny. I'd done improv and other things like that, but I didn't think I was like the funny person in the room.
That's awesome. But that's crazy. See, I studied Western European politics and democratization in Latin America, so it was a little different.
Yeah, that's intense.
Yeah, but it was good. And actually made me realize that I was smart, or not. I knew I was like smartish, but after that I knew I was like, no, I actually can do. And I didn't do any music. That was like the only time I hadn't played piano. I didn't.
Oh, wow.
Do anything. Yeah. Well, because, like, I didn't have access to the practice rooms. I would have had to, like, meet up with the rogue music major. Like, and I didn't have enough money to bribe anyone to get me into the practice rooms. Are you fucking serious? Like, yeah.
But forgot about all that stuff.
Yeah, but I got to go to the library. Oh, my God. The Bodleian.
Oh,
that was fun.
Oh, yeah, that
I felt like I was in Harry Potter. Well, because they shot some of the scenes.
Well, also, oh my God, I should show you the picture. When I was in Oxford, the dining hall, I stayed at Balliol College.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The dining hall looks exactly like the Harry Potter dining halls because it was filmed at
they filmed it in a bunch
so,
of
like,
different
every
ones,
day when we ate lunch and dinner, we'd go to breakfast, we'd go to the dining hall, and it was like you're walking into Harry Potter. And it was so crazy. I love that. So I just reread all the books because I reread the new play, and so then I reread all the books the last like month.
I haven't read the play. What is it? Is it good?
It's good. Yeah,
it's good.
It's good.
It
takes place 19 years in the future.
Oh, okay.
It's about Harry Potter's son.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's what you
Okay.
can see, like, as a one-sentence description when you...
No, seriously, I want to reread it, but I also want to read it on book on tape because I want my boyfriend to listen to it because he only saw the movies. Exactly.
Not the same.
No,
see,
not the same.
See, with my ex, I used to read. So one time his car stereo broke down. It just broke, and we didn't have the money to fix it.
No.
So when we were going on trips, we drive to visit his family, drive to visit my family, drive to other shit. We didn't have anything to listen to, so I started reading out loud, and so we read like books 4, 5, and 6, I think, out loud to each other. Like, I was reading all the voices because it would keep me awake. Otherwise, I'd just fall asleep.
Well, not only that, but even listening to a book on tape, it's kind of amazing while you're driving. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Aww. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, I'll check out the book though because it would be nice to just get into.
Well, it's a play, so that's why it does it. It's a play. And it's in London. The play's in London right now.
Oh,
at least
yeah.
for another year.
That'll be interesting.
But,
I don't know. I'm probably just gonna escape there when Donald Trump gets elected. I have a couple of friends over there.
Friends that'll marry you. They'll be like, yeah, we can give you some.
Give you a little bit of even though they got that Brexit shit.
So where did you? Sorry, one question back to the music. Where did you come up with the pedal stuff? When did you start doing that?
Well, I was dating a little bit of a jerk. No, I mean, but he had a loop pedal. And I seen what he did, but he did like noise stuff or whatever. And I was staying at his apartment, and then I was like, hey, can I just like put the headphones in and like toy around with it? He was like, yeah, sure. So I got really high, and I just sat there, and then I started realizing that this is great. Not only that, I can layer my voice, I can add a beat, I can add a keyboard part, and make this thing sound like a lot of the pop songs that I hear, either way, and I could take things in, I could take things out, what? And it was only the single one. The drawback with that one, though, is you can't do as many, because now I have, like, a 3-layer one, but that was, like, when I realized, like, this is something I gotta,
You're like, hey, I need one of these.
And luckily, he let me use it every time I need to use it. And then finally, I think like it was one of the times we'd broken up, and before we got back together, broke up. Break up, get back together.
Yeah,
break
I
up,
did that. I did that.
Do the cha-cha.
We did that dance.
Oh,
I've done that with
dance.
my musician ex. We did that.
I know. My musician ex too. High five.
Yes. Although, like, I don't know what I think he's still doing.
And I mean, I'm a musician, but it's like I get it.
He's more like he would do more cover band stuff, but
it's still
and teach and stuff.
But. But what you call it? So I finally got one, and then I started using it at shows, and it wasn't really till I got the 3-layer one because I remember my drummer friend Sarah. She was like, and a band I was playing with at the time, like, you just need to for your music to get this thing, because you can change keys, you can really work at something. And so I got it, parted $500.
It's worth it, though.
It was worth it. It's
worth it because it sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you do that. Like, I don't know how it physically. I want to, like, sometime I want to see how it physically works.
It's literally you push the pedal, and then when you push the pedal, you do the music thing you want, and then you push again when you want it to stop it, and then you have that recording, right?
But then, like, you layer yourself, like,
and then you layer it on.
But do you have to push it the same?
You have to push it again, and then
it still loops while you're doing that. Yeah.
It doesn't loop when I finish recording. I'd have to show it to you.
Sorry. This is boring for the podcast.
I know it's so boring.
But,
you have to push it, and then you push it again, and then you layer it, and it's really fun and exciting. This is great promotion. But no, it's good. What I can say about it, it layers songs. That's a lot of hip hop producers. The loop pedal. The weird thing too is the loop pedal is based off hip hop. It's based off the record. They literally made something to imitate what...
Oh.
Yeah, like the sampling in a hip-hop record. And the beat that you hear, because most of the time through a hip-hop record, you are hearing a very consistent same beat.
Oh, that makes sense.
So literally the loop pedal was based off hip-hop. Cool. So whenever...
And you take it and do a completely different thing with it.
Yeah, but, and then at the same time, but that's the fun part about it.
Yeah.
Like, but it's also very much influenced with hip-hop. That's part of the reason I really liked it, was, like, I can make all these different things and have, it's.
The first time I saw loop pedal was with Reggie Watts doing, like, a comedy loop pedal with that.
Yes.
And that was pretty badass.
Yeah.
I was like, that's really cool. Like...
I actually got booked for Accidental Comedy Fest because Ramon Rivas, who's awesome, he said, oh, man, he asked the Potterhouse sisters, like, oh, can you get that, like, female Reggie Watts looper, like, but she's really good looking.
That's how, that's
really
woman
sweet,
in comedy,
though.
Just good, yeah.
That's like a great, if you don't know my name and that's how you describe me, that's a great compliment. Yeah. I will take it.
So you did the Accidental Comedy Fest in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Yeah, was that fun?
Oh my god, it was so fun. And that's the second time I did it too.
Oh, so, and you don't do comedy. Like, so just to clarify, this is a comedy festival. That's how good you are. You don't actually do comedy. You do music at comedy shows. But she's so good that comedians want her to do their shows.
Yeah. But sometimes I'm a little bit funny,
Yeah, but you're comfortable. Like, in between songs, you kind of, like, you're comfortable.
Yeah, but you give a riff-raff. Yeah, like, that's the thing. But also, that's part of the reason I like comedy shows is, like, it helps me with those, like, in-between times.
It makes it less awkward.
It makes it so... Do you know how many music shows you go to? Like, if you're, like, where the band will play, and then, thank you.
Yeah.
Out of your idea. You see them fucking talking to each other, like jerking off on stage. You might as well just jerk yourselves off on stage rather than like engaging your audience. It's stupid. That whole thing with like learning how to perform.
Yeah.
It's stupid to do that. So I always tried to be funny, but it wasn't until I did comedy shows again. I'm like, got into the practice again and saw it again of like, oh, okay, so I can do this if that is in between that. Because I always have to, like, change that's one of the things about, like, when I have to change stuff, I have to change the settings on my keyboard, I have to change the number on my loop pedal, I have to change this, or that, so that the song can get set up. So, and it's just an easier way to keep people from going outside from smoking, or if they do, they'll like, oh, I'll be really quick and then get back in. Yeah. Because all that shit fucking counts.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, that's part of the reason why I like comedy festivals. And, like I said, comedy. Sometimes they just, and the free comedy, obviously.
Yeah.
Discount.
Exactly.
Free discount.
Yeah, well, you also, you do a mic every week, too.
I do.
Yeah.
And that's where I get to be epic man behind the piano.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's fun. A gallery cabaret, which is
at the Gal Cap, Cupcake Comedy Cabaret. You played there.
Yeah, I've done that.
Had a good time.
I've done that quite a few times. What I like about that show is when they book me, I get to do longer.
Yeah.
I'll do like 20 minutes. I think last time I did. So
last time you did like an hour and a half. It was great. Even the music open micer guys were not mad at all. Like they usually are. That's a good open mic.
What do you mean? They're usually mad?
No, it's just more like sometimes the weird thing is now that it's like sometimes we'll have longer we think that there's going to be as many open mic people and then they're like all of a sudden, oh my god, there's a bunch of people want to do the open mic. And it's funny too because like since like things have been picking up and I was like, hey guys, let's try promote on social media, and I love it. Part of the reason why I do it, and so we're getting more people now, so it's like, and like I don't know, it's just like funny to see like the music like open mic people like
waiting. Well, the crazy thing is like
waiting like a lion,
because I used to date a musician and I know some people are like, oh, I think I know you before, like I feel like some of the musicians will come up to me and like, oh, I know you from somewhere. I'm like, ah.
Probably the Gal Cab.
Yeah.
That's actually most of the time when there have been people who are like, oh, Natalie, I know you. And I'm like, wait, is it from the Gal Cab? Because there's no way I remember you.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is one of the things, one of my big things is I'm awful at remembering people.
I'm awful at remembering people, especially there, because that's Mama's getting drunk time. That's
Yeah, exactly. You're getting drunk and having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, not like totally shit wasted. I actually hate doing that.
Yeah, because then you can't focus on your craft.
Well, you can't focus. Yeah, focused.
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 You can't focus.
I can't focus like a locust. Focused. No, but yeah, but it's more like a thing where I like that open mic too, because it's like really chill, but also it's just easy to banter with Casey and Martin.
It's fun.
And yeah, and it's like I said, it's about having fun, and it's a really nice like open room. And now I have funny thing though, I feel like the bodyguard.
Oh,
I feel like the bodyguard of the show.
That's odd.
Or just more the librarian, the shusher.
Yeah.
The shusher.
The shusher.
Well, like the back of the bar, like at every comedy show.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
because comedy music are different. Like you can be passive with music. You can listen to it passively.
Exactly.
But with some music, people are just so captivated that they.
Yeah, sometimes they're captivated, but also I've been to fucking. Oh my god, this is one of the things that fucking drove me crazy. Like, have you ever been to those like quiet music shows?
That's weird. It makes me feel
okay.
It feels like.
And this is no disrespect. Like, sometimes there are quiet music shows, and I understand. Okay, but if it's a Friday fucking night and that quiet music show is like happening 50 feet away, like in warehouses, like you've seen like shit like that. And I've been to things where it's Friday night, and then I'm talking and. Like, it's disrespectful. I feel it's disrespectful anytime if you speak during something. And, like, even though, like...
I get what you mean.
And this, like, band had a whole drum set, okay? It's not like they were being quiet, necessarily. Mm-hmm. It was, like, just that they didn't have mics. But they had all... They were, like, the fucking 20-person cult, whatever goddamn band. I don't know.
That's crazy.
But I'm like... Okay. I'm never offended if anybody's talking while I'm singing, first off. And if they're talking while I'm singing, I don't fucking care, because I'm then gonna just, like... that's not my job. I'm not there for your conversation. Because if you're in a loud music show. But also, history music stuff, okay? Originally...
Are we getting
we're getting music history, okay? So this whole thing about you have to be quiet for music and you have to just okay, here's where it came from. So before the Romantic period, okay, and Beethoven is like this turning point of the Romantic period, okay? Before the Romantic period, you were much more considered a servant. You were the bread and butter, the three different bread and butter music jobs are the church. Mm-hmm. Then you might get an apprenticeship or like a courtship, like, with the opera that was like the royal opera, which was controlled by the royal the king or the emperor or whatever. Yeah. You've seen fucking Amadeus or a cardinal. Yeah. If you work. Yeah. But that whole thing with like Mozart and that the cardinals thing. Yeah. The one thing that's inaccurate in that is that it is more likely that there might have been a smaller crowd watching the musicians, because it was like a CD player. So people were eating, people were talking, people were running around, people were joking. The musicians were a CD player. Like, think about it.
I remember reading about Shakespeare too, and how at the Globe, like before his plays, they would have music playing. Yeah. Like that was like while they were coming in, like like I said, like a CD player.
Exactly, and then like they knew like once the music was in that the people talking, because before the play it was like a fucking pub, because there was beer being sold, there was pies being sold, people were trying to pick up prostitutes, because a lot of like young gentry, like in the cheap, they would go around the cheap sections. So music at this point, it was more you were a CD player. Okay, that was one of the jobs. That was your fucking job. Okay,
hey, your job will be replaced by a small disc in 300 years.
Doesn't that suck? Like that's one of the that's the whole thing with like the the advent of the radio and like the recording thing. But like, so it was until Beethoven was so pissed when people talk, so pissed, he would sit. And the rich people were still doing what they always fucking did. But Beethoven being Beethoven was like, no, you listen to every motherfucking note. And he would get up and walk out, sometimes wait for an hour, and he'd just get up and keep walking out of these people's homes. So they were like, fuck, what do we do? And then they found out from, like, his secretaries is like, Mr. Beethoven expects that you guys listen to every motherfucking note that he does. And because he was like this, like, it commodity thing, right? They did it.
That's crazy.
And that's the advent of this whole, the concert sit down and listen.
It's opera, all because of Beethoven. Like the whole symphony. Like if you go to the symphony.
The opera was different. The opera was more this idea, like the opera house. It was different.
Yeah.
But when it comes to just like the parlors, because that was like the other job of like, and you also did this to like advertise for piano lessons because you wanted to get a bunch of rich people to give music lessons and piano lessons.
Well, and back then it was very important, like for women, like because like you had to be refined.
That was one of the virtues,
and it was like, oh, like yes, you must learn music and you must be well spoken in multiple languages and do all of these things that make you ultimately more intelligent and worldly than your husband.
But it's also, luckily, a piano doesn't have to go too far outside that house, does it? Does it, ladies? Oh. Yeah, I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the piano is the weirdest, like, when I really think about it, the weirdest gender fucking argument in the world. Like,
what do you mean?
Well, okay, so you had the thing about the piano being a female virtue of intelligence and things like that, but the main people that taught piano were men. However, let's also God, what was her name? Clara Schumann, and she was a virtuoso, in fact. But regardless of her, because she's an amazing composer, look her up. But so you mainly had men doing it, but then the piano went into a thing into the jazz era that it was a male instrument again, right? Because you think about men, so most men were very, like the piano was like the whole piano duel, like jazz duels, that was a big thing. Count Basie versus, you know, like when you really think about it. So the piano goes into this male aspect again. Same thing, like, you know, in the 50s too. The piano becomes a male instrument again.
Okay.
Still, though, you have like mainly women learning the piano. And then, so all of a sudden, once the piano was not, like, once rock and roll started going into a different direction, the piano becomes more of a female instrument yet again when you think about the solo female artists. Think about Joni Mitchell. All of a sudden in the 60s, then the guitar goes into the male instrument.
Huh.
And then the keyboard or the Wurlitzer, like, or the organ player goes into, if you're considering with rock, mainly rock music, right? There are always few exceptions, amazing exceptions, but the flow back and forth of the piano versus the guitar fascinates me because I even deal with that today, like, where I dealt with it when I was, like, starting to play, because, you know, not only did male musicians think, like, you know, when they see my loop pedal on my keyboard, oh, it's just another tick with the key, but like, you know, exactly, like, I just might as well have tampon earrings, like, that's what I felt like, basically. But then you'd have some female musicians who play guitar who were like, I remember one time I was talking with this girl and she's like, oh yeah, don't you hate it when, like, guys just assume that you can only play piano and sing? And I was like, well, and this is actually how I responded. Do you want to hear the whole tea? All right, we're going to the whole tea, because, so I was like, well, you know, I sometimes also think it's really sucks when people think that after, you know, 15 years of vocal training and 9 years of piano lessons, that people underestimate the value of classical work and practice and hours and sweat and tears and hard work that I put into music.
Oh, wow.
And she just like, oh, yeah. And she walked away.
Oh.
Just walk away. Walk away.
Well, I love it. It's just like, oh, it's like, because music is like a language. So it's like saying,
language.
It's like saying, oh, you just speak English, French, and German. That's it. You know, like it's.
I mean, it's the thing is, it's like it's the whole thing of thinking what's male, what's female, which race is what. All this shit in music always like ends up like popping on in people's attitudes, you know.
I never thought about the piano going back and forth. So now
it's right now it's weird because the piano, I think at this point right now, is just so rare to actually have in music because now it's keyboards.
Yeah, and it can mimic it, but it's not the same.
Exactly. It's so sad.
Except for like I remember seeing Ben Folds at the Chicago Theater,
and
he has a grand.
Yeah, but that's Ben Folds. Folds.
But yeah, I know. Ben Folds is Ben Folds. I get it. It's not the same. But I do actually find myself liking music that does have keyboard elements too. Like, do you know Jukebox the Ghost at all?
No.
They're a band out of Brooklyn. I actually went to high school with one of the main guys there. But they've traveled. They do European tours. They did Letterman. They've done a lot of stuff.
Awesome.
Like they're like legit. You know, but I really like their music a lot. But they
use a lot of keyboards.
They've got 3 guys. Then a drummer, a guitarist, and then keys.
Yeah. And yeah, like I think like right now it's weird because I think the keyboard's gone back, but it's gone back to like still, and I hate it, but you always hear it in that pop ballad that sounds like, you know, I for the time in the like that weird belting like I need a soft song on my album.
Like Adele kind of.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
No, Jackie started Adele.
The thing is, I like her as a person, and she's a great voice. But oh my god, I can predict everything about an Adele song. Any Adele song, I know exactly what's gonna happen.
What's gonna happen?
Here's what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen and start off with keys, and they're gonna at least have that little piano mezzo forte build up, and it'll be "And away I'm dying in a ceiling," and then she'll like that whole I know, like that weird, like she's gonna have a belt. And it's gonna have to go up to that belt, and I think her songwriters just love it when she belts, but it's like. You know, she, like, her first album was just so fun to hear, like, voice, because it was, like...
I liked her...
Jackie DeShannon, like, the modern pop, like, she had this cool...
I liked the one, Right as Rain, was the one I liked.
I don't
It was like, well, I can't sing. I'm not going to try to sing on my podcast. Cause
I like the one, like, you said I've all in love, I never get in. Yeah, we do. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, we do. And it was so like but jazzy, poppy,
yeah,
but also poppy and quirky and cool. But that never mind. I will find someone like you. It's the weirdest song for me.
Yeah.
Well, just because it's a good song.
Well, I also what it's about. It's like, don't worry. Like I'll find somebody like you. Like
even though this was the fucked up relationship and it didn't work out, I hope I found somebody exactly like you.
Yeah, and it's a very weird too. It's like, I mean, I guess you could say it's like a different kind of, you know, someone I feel that way about, like, but still, it's a very strange thing to be like, oh, and I feel like a lot of those songs are, I mean, I get it. Most songs are about relationships. Relationships are important. Love means a lot, but I feel like the level of importance we put on relationships in songs really does affect us. That makes like love and relationships seem like they are like the most important thing in people's lives.
And we want people like oh my god, have you ever reread your journal from when you're 12? Because I have.
Oh my god.
I'm going to work out this summer and I got a new nail polish. Third period sucks.
I was passing notes and James read my note that I wrote about him and he got embarrassed and
everybody no, I remember actually but it's funny. I actually read, I forgot what book I was reading. It was when I was starting to churn my feminist little brain, but it showed a journal of a 14-year-old girl from the Victorian times. So we're talking about the Victorian times. The brutal ass, daughter looked
you talk
forward.
About Mean Girls now.
Like talking about, but look, this girl's 14-year-old journal in the Victorian times. I cannot wait to go to school. My French has been behind and I really need to work on it. She was describing that. She was describing, like, you know, having a fight with her sister or whatever. She was describing looking forward to piano lessons and being excited about the fall and stuff like that. Then they looked at like a 14-year-old girl like from 1995, and it was mainly focused on body, how much they had to work out, how much they had to
improve themselves
but improve themselves on a body. And I'm not saying, oh, Victorian times, yay, but I think what part of the reason why there was that resurgence was, one, because suffrage was starting to happen, and you had, you know, this surge of like, oh, I'm so excited about education, I'm gonna go and learn, and I want to learn another language. But there was something that happened with, like, I think TV and just influence. I forgot the name of this book, and I'm really pissed. I think it had to do with, like, eating disorders or something. I don't know. If
you come up with it, let me know, and I'll plug it at the end, at the beginning or the end.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But it was this really fascinating theory of, like, yeah, right now, and I do think about, like, how much time I wasted, man. I could have been working that much harder on Choo Choo. It's a freight train.
I know, and that's what I'm thinking. And, yeah, I think that it is interesting how many different things affect us. Like I said, I think that because so many songs are about love or about hooking up or about whatever, we put that as such a high importance. There's no songs about, hey, I want to better myself by learning. Like, there's no songs with, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no...
Well, I'm trying to think of one. Let's try
this is a challenge.
Of one other than Aretha Franklin's You Better Think. Okay.
What about, well, Roam Around the World is more about traveling the world.
You know what? No. What was that one minor hit, about, Pompeii? Pompeii.
I don't know the song.
Oh, it's actually kind of cute. It's about the explosion at Pompeii.
Well, actually, no, I take this back. Hamilton. The Hamilton musical is all about educational.
Hamilton.
And I think that...
pop song. We have to think about pop song. There's a difference between Hamilton the musical and pop songs. And you know that. Even though it's hard. Think of one pop song that is told it like within teaching. 10 years. 10 years. Within 10 years.
I can't think of one. Let me think. Let's see. I feel like there should be like Jeopardy playing. Wait, I asked you this, and then you turned the question around back at me.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Okay. We can... This sucks.
That we can't come up with this.
We can't come up with one song that's about, hey girls, get your education. Oh, fuck.
Oh, this is why our education is so fucked in this country. Because there's not even one song we can think of.
Or even, okay, so let's make it lighter, because we're not going to get one about education. Okay, let's name one song that's about betterment, like to better your life, not having to do with a relationship. This girl
Rehab?
Well, that didn't work out. That was actually for the worse in men, and that didn't go out well.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, you know what? Alicia Keys, because I'm gonna give her the benefit of that. This girl's on fire. It's only about just a woman working hard.
Oh, what
she's working hard, and she's doing great. Like that.
That's not bad.
This girl is on fire.
Okay, I like that.
Okay, so we got one.
The only thing I think
Lemonade is an album.
I think Florence and the Machine had maybe
Dog Days Are Over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, the Dog Days
Are Over. Okay.
Yeah. So that's another one.
I'm glad we didn't talk about that education one, because that was hard.
Yeah. Well, I think we figured out one there. I think that's good.
I think that's good. I think yeah.
And then you got an album coming out. What's your album?
Oh no, well the EP is out. Yeah, it's actually like, it's weird because I wrote it a couple years ago, but then I had mental problems. Like I told you, I was bipolar, but now I'm back and stabilized and medicated. Oh yeah,
good.
But
I forgot to ask you if you've seen Maria Bamford's new show.
Oh yes, and I talked about it on my YouTube channel.
Yes.
No, I loved it because it was like, oh my god, you're bipolar too. I've been cycling. What?
Yeah. She's hilarious, too.
Well, she's hilarious, but also this is that show, it's great because I'm glad a comedian finally realized that you can make mental illness funny without making fun of mentally ill people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
When I really think about it, most comedies do that thing of oh no, they got put into the insane asylum. Or oh no, they think that they're gonna go crazy, but it turns out their friends are breaking. Or somehow making fun of homeless people, or when they run into a homeless person and making fun of them for being schizophrenic or something.
Oh, yeah.
Shit like that.
Well, that's the thing with the narcolepsy in a lot of movies and stuff. It's totally the same thing. I can't imagine.
Every time I've seen it, it's not
someone fall asleep with their soup or something stupid.
Or in Scrubs, when they're sexually aroused, just fall asleep, and I'm
Well, actually, some people do. I mean, thank God I don't, but there are some people that have a cataplexy where you fall to the ground at the point of orgasm. And I was how much would that suck? That would suck so much. So thankfully,
you could never.
I have cataplexy, but mine happen if I'm really emotional. So if I'm really upset, or if I'm really surprised, or sometimes I say something out loud and I don't expect it to be funny, but in my head I think it's funny and I hold back my laugh and then I fall down.
Oh, that's so crazy.
It's so crazy specific. I know.
Well, with the fall, having to hold back a laugh when I've had those things. Oh man, that would suck.
It doesn't happen every time, to be clear.
Yeah, but still, that would suck.
I've also laughed so hard that I fell down. Which I'm afraid to tell too many comedians because I feel like some feel like it's
They're just
challenge.
Gonna try to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, exactly.
They would.
Wait, so your album.
It was produced by Gabe Leibowitz, and it was audio engineered by Jonathan Alford, and John Pavletic mastered it. Just want to get the credits out. Get the credits out.
And what's it called again?
Type of Wound, and it's available on, I believe, Spotify if you want to stream it, but also iTunes, Bandcamp.
But you should buy it on iTunes instead.
Well, buy it on iTunes or apparently listening on Spotify is now oh no, that's what you should do.
Well,
because sometimes they'll look at the spot. No, but the bookers will look at the Spotify plays.
They will. Oh, I didn't realize that. Man,
it all matters. I have to hustle.
Murder, fella, you gotta hustle. Hey, you should make a song about hustling.
Do the hustle. Do the hustle too.
Love it. Cool.
But Google Play, Amazon, Bandcamp, and iTunes, and I think that
Natalie Grace Alford.
Natalie Grace Alford.
And then, because we're winding down the show, usually at the end, I usually ask people what your dreams are for your future, hopes and dreams,
Hopes and dreams. Well, at this point, and I'm gonna be serious. I just want to make $1,000 a month, $800 to $1,000 a month from working on music, trying to tour, trying to perform. Sticking around with my boyfriend. He's been great. And making sure that my dog Oski, because we have a dog, is key. Yeah. Aww. Yeah. And so I think that's the big thing. Yeah, just literally I just want to work doing music and stay with my boyfriend and raise our dog. And, everybody knowing that I didn't suck, and that's why I'm not famous. Don't worry.
Is there any bigger goals besides that? Or is that just...
Well, I want to be realistic. I'm going to try my ass off, but I don't want to, dream-wise, it would be great to open for acts I really respect. Other people that do loops, Yeah,
or would you want to open for a Reggie Watts or a...
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine, I just want to try. I think try as hard as you can, but also be satisfied with if it's just that I'm performing and working, then that's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
But just try my ass off and see if if anything else happens, just try as hard as you can.
At least
that's what I want.
Try as hard, and at least you're creating some really cool stuff. Yeah, in the process.
Exactly. And I swear to God, it doesn't suck. It doesn't. Yeah. I would not be in this bed right now.
No, she would. I don't have people that suck in my bed.
She does not. Well,
I mean.
We got a dick joke and maybe clit joke if you want to think about it.
Yeah.
All right, but are we good? Are we ready to go to bed now?
Thanks so much. Yeah. Usually I end the podcast and we go to sleep. Good night.
All right. I might fart.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Natalie Grace Alford. Be sure to check out her EP, Type of Wound, on Bandcamp and iTunes, and follow her on Twitter at NatalieGABand. If you like the podcast, please rate and review on iTunes and subscribe. This podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Please go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can also view the video on YouTube or follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.